Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. It is Monday. I hope you did all have a very good weekend. A weekend of course without Everton. We didn't play last weekend. It was FA Cup weekend. We don't play now until next Tuesday actually, so a week tomorrow, so we've got quite a long break before we get to see Everton again. Of course, we take on Cardiff City next Tuesday, but before then, we've got a couple of things to talk about. I wanted to do a Blues news stream today because I think there's a couple of things that have surfaced in the last sort of week or so that are definitely worth speaking about. One more recently being obviously the Bramley documents being released, being leaked, if you like, to the public and people getting a hold of them and people starting to comment on their opinions on what the stadium looks like and their opinions on how the stadium may be built. Obviously, we're going to speak about Idrissa Gana. He's been talking in the papers this past week, about his proposed move to PSG and more specifically the failed move to PSG last January. We're going to be talking about Gomes as well. There's been a news article this past week to state that Marcel Brands will be travelling to Barcelona to try and get a permanent deal done for Gomes with Barcelona to make his loan move permanent. And we're going to be talking about Mason Holgate as well, the young right back, obviously currently on loan at West Bromwich Albion, doing well at West Brom. You know, touted as a very, very good player by a lot of their fans. A lot of their fans are absolutely made up, and we're going to speak about whether he has a future at right back at our football club, because obviously we know Seamus Coleman isn't in his best form at the minute. We know that, okay, John Joe Kenny's coming and he might be doing well, but is he going to be there? You know, is he going to be the right back to take us into the top six and to have us challenging for these championships and obviously the Champions League like Denise Barrett Baxendale states we will be. So we'll be talking about Mason Holgate and whether he has an opportunity next season to really break in to the first team. And before we go any further, I'm just going to tweet the stream out so everybody on Twitter knows we are live. 7 people watching already. Thank you very much if you are watching live. Let's just get that link tweeted out. Iron Zeus says, come on you Blues. Yes, definitely. Shabba says, hola Cam, hola Shabba, I hope you are doing well. And Iron Zeus says, respect to Cardiff and Salah. Of course, all of our respect and condolences going towards Cardiff City. Iron Zeus also says, Everton forever. Yes, definitely. So I suppose there's no better way to kick off the theme than to talk about Idrissa Gana, our little midfielder that was proposed to join PSG in the January transfer window. Obviously, it never happened because of certain reasons. Basically, Everton saying he's not for sale, PSG not putting a decent bid in until half an hour before the window ending, and then Marco Silva, Marcel Brands, and everybody else at the club basically saying, nah, you're alright, don't worry about it, he's our player. Now, I think it's no secret to us Evertonians, and it's no secret to anybody in football really, to know that Idrissa Gana really wanted this move to PSG. I think, you know, there was rumours at one point that he put a formal transfer request in. I think, you know, whether he did or didn't, you know, I think everybody pretty much knows that he wanted to join PSG. And a lot of Evertonians sat back and they said, you know what, fair enough, he's given us some really good years. He's 29 years of age, you know, we're probably going to get around 26 to 30 million pound for him. He isn't the greatest midfielder on the planet, let's be totally honest, and I'm not just saying that because he's looking for a move away. I'm saying that because I genuinely believe that, you know, we could improve on him and that he's got a lot of attributes of his game that just aren't good enough, that need to be improved. So a lot of Evertonians were in the boat as to say, you know what, fair enough, maybe we should let Idrissa Gana go, maybe we should give him his opportunity for his dream move to PSG, and whatever reason it didn't happen. A lot of Evertonians will be sitting there thinking, whatever, it didn't happen, get on with it. Now for me, Idrissa Gana has come out with a statement. He's been speaking to the papers as most footballers do in this current day and age. He's come out and said, it is a dream that sadly did not come true. Now I know that I am of interest to these types of clubs. I am going to work even more so they come back. Maybe it is not finished with them, meaning PSG. Now for me, let me know what your thoughts are on this in the live comments down below. If you're watching this live, I know there's quite a few people in here, 9 people in here. So if you're watching this live, let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. If you're watching it as a video afterwards, leave your thoughts in the YouTube comments as well. For me, that's a little bit disrespectful, this statement. Now, I did tweet this out over on our Twitter. As you can see, it's just below me there, at Mighty Blues YT, a couple of days ago when it originally surfaced. And, you know, a couple of people, you know, were tweeting back saying, I've not really got an issue with it. He's given us some of his decent years. We know he wants to leave. He's being respectful, blah, blah, blah. For me, I don't think he is being respectful with this statement. I think the most respectful thing that Gana could have said was, listen, I'm here now. I'm at Everton and I'm going to be at Everton until at least the summer. So I'm going to get my head down and I'm going to work hard. Now that for me says, I'm here. I mightn't want to be here, but I'm going to get my head down, work hard, and then hopefully somebody will come back in for me in the summer. There's no need for him to go into so much detail, and I think the specific parts of this statement are really disrespectful towards Everton, in my opinion, specifically saying, I am interested to these types of clubs, and I'm going to work even more so they come back. That's basically him turning around saying, I don't want to be here, and I'm going to work my ass off to get out of here. Now, for me, if that's the case, and that's his general consensus, then that's fair enough. He's given us some really, really good years, and I don't think any Evertonian, including myself, would be 100% against letting Gana leave. Especially with him coming out with these statements. But the transfer window's over now. He's right. His move didn't happen in January. His dream did not come true. Okay, I think what this statement is it's a very honest statement from Gana. It's very to the point and it's very honest. It's him saying, listen, my dream didn't come true, but maybe it might come true again, and at least I know I'm of interest now and I'm going to work harder for them to come back. That's very honest. That's him coming out and answering a question honestly rather than professionally. That's him coming out and saying, here are my views, rather than saying, hang on, let me word this right so I don't get in the bad books of anybody. Because for me, leaves a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth, especially as an Evertonian, knowing that we've got another player playing on the football pitch there that very clearly wants to move away from the club. Now we all know Gana wants to move away from the club. There's probably every single one of them players, if PSG had come in for them, would probably want to move away from a club, and that's fair enough. And Gana, obviously French speaking, PSG, one of the biggest clubs in world football, going to be playing next to Neymar, Mbappe, Di Maria, all of these world-class footballers. So it's understandable that he wants to move away, and I don't think any Evertonian will sit there and go, why do you want to go to PSG and not want to stay at Everton? But I think for him to come out and say, listen, I'm going to work hard to get there because I want to get there, is very honest, and some Evertonians will go, I've got no problem with that, that's just them being honest. But for me, he's at Everton now, and the January transfer window has literally just, it's just closed. We now don't have another window until August, which is some 6 months away. 6 months away. I don't know why I said 6 months then, like I'm from bloody the farms or something. 6 months away. So for me, he should have come out and said, listen, the move didn't happen, whether I wanted it to happen or not, it didn't happen. I'm at Everton, so I'm just going to get my head down, knuckle down and work hard and, try and get into the best position as I can with Everton and help Everton to get where we need to be. Because at the end of the day, he's an Everton player. Whether he wants to be or not, whether he wanted to be or not, whether he liked it or not, he is an Everton player. So first and foremost, that's what he should be focusing on, playing for Everton. He shouldn't be focusing on what's going to happen in the summer. He shouldn't be focusing on the fact that he's of interest to these types of clubs. Yeah, he is. And you know what? If I was playing football and I was playing for somebody I didn't have an affiliation with, obviously if I was playing for Everton, it'd be a different story. But if I was playing for Fulham, let's say, and Barcelona come in for me, I'd probably go, you know what? Wouldn't mind going there, fella. But if the move didn't happen, your professional manner should kick in and go, actually, it's not happening. I don't want to disrespect anyone. I don't want to get in anyone's, bad book. So I'm just going to sit back and say, you know what, didn't happen. It is what it is. I'm just going to work hard for the club that I'm at now. And that's what you tend to see a lot of footballers doing. You don't really tend to see quotes and interviews like this after a failed move. You don't really tend to see players coming out and saying, yeah, listen, I'm good, at least I know they're interested. I'm going to hope that they come back in the summer. Because for me, that's warrant of a, listen lad, your head's not clearly at Everton, so, you're going to sit on the bench until further notice. I'm not saying we should bench him and I'm not saying that he's not going to give 100% week in, week out, and his professional manner isn't going to be to play football as if he wants to stay at Everton, but I'm just not really interested in a statement like that. I think it's a little bit disrespectful. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Iron Juice says, Gomes 1 goal while on loan and now permanent deal for the Blues. Iron Juice get brands to Spain. We'll be talking about that one in just a moment, of course. Craig90 says, I heard we signed Gana's younger brother Marvin. I've heard it through the grapevine. Top joke, mate. Top joke. That's actually really, really funny, though. David says, Gomes at 22 million. I'd be happy with that. To be honest, Gana has given us a good few years, so let him realise his dream. Fair enough, and you know what? I'm in the same boat. I wouldn't be against Gana leaving the club, and I certainly wouldn't be holding him back from what he states as his dream move. If his dream move is to go and play with PSG alongside some of the best players in the world, whose dream move isn't to do that? So let him go. Fair enough, let him go. And to be honest, I'm probably in the boat of we should have probably let him go in January if that's his dream move. And if he's coming out with statements like this, very clearly stating that he doesn't want to be here, he wants to go and play for this club, then we should have let him go ideally. But we didn't, and he needs to understand that we didn't, and he needs to understand that he needs to now get his head down. Because if he keeps turning around, coming out with statements like this, Marco Silva might turn around and go, your head's not at Everton, so you're not playing, and then he's not going to get a move in the summer because PSG will look and go, well, what did Gana do in the last 6 months? I didn't really play that many games. Oh, we'll just go to this midfielder instead. So he needs to just get his head down, and he needs to understand that he doesn't want to piss Evertonians off, and he doesn't want to piss Everton off. And I think coming out with statements like this just may do it, to be honest, because first time I read it, I thought, I do get where he's coming from, and I do understand to a point where he's coming from. However, it is quite disrespectful in my opinion, and it is quite just putting himself out there to say, listen, I don't want to be here, so any top team's going to come in for me, please come in for me. And I don't really like that, regardless of his situation. Iron Zoo says, do not let Gana go. Needs to sign a new contract and let PSG know he does not want to join, as they have got a cheat there, Neymar. I don't think we can stop Idrissa Gana Gueye from wanting to join PSG. I don't think we'll ever try and sway his mind. I think he'll always want to join a club like that. And like I said again, that's fair enough. You know, he's not an Evertonian. He wasn't born an Evertonian. He come here to further his career, and now he wants to go to PSG to further his career, playing in the Champions League, playing alongside some of the best players in the world. And like I said, that's fair enough. But the move didn't happen. The move didn't happen in January for whatever reason. If he's unhappy about that, then he needs to go to the board. He needs to go to Bramley. He needs to go to Silva and say, listen, I'm unhappy that you didn't let me go, and I don't think it's fair. I wouldn't be coming out to the media saying, oh, you know, it's all right. I know I'm of interest now, so I'm just going to work hard and hope they come back in. I just don't really like that type of attitude for me. Shabba says the most respectful thing he could have done was nothing. Exactly, kept his mouth shut and just said, I'm here and I'm going to work hard. But who knows? Iron Zeus says, do more fan cams even after the home games. I'm going to definitely try and do more fan cams. I want to get, obviously, the fan cams going, and obviously allow more fans involved in the channel, because it is a fan channel, it's not just my channel. So hopefully in the next coming weeks and months I'll be able to get that sorted. Iron Zoo says, are you looking forward to the Merseyside derby at Goodison Park? No, I'm not, to be honest, because at the minute the way Everton are playing, I think we could get turned over by Tranmere, never mind Liverpool. But if there's going to be any game that we win in the next few weeks, then I'd hope it would be the derby. So, hopefully there's a strike of luck and something miraculous happens and we end up winning. But yeah, I never look forward to derbies. I absolutely hate them. Sam says, for Garner it's a dream, we will miss him, but he needs to find his dream. Yeah, fair enough, and that's fair. And like I said, I was in the same boat in January, as saying, listen, this is his dream move, so let him go. Let him realise his dream, let him have his dream move. Let him go. But I just think the statement is a little bit sour for me, and I'm not really interested in things like that. Natty says, as long as he does his best for us until the end of the season, I'll be happy. A lot of players work hard with the intention of moving on to something bigger, managers too. Yeah, fair enough. And Gana Gueye could come out and could have an absolutely fantastic rest of the season, and we could be sitting here going, well, he's only done that to get the move. But at the end of the day, we'll be sitting here going, but he gave us some really good months there, so fair enough, let him go. And that's what I mean. But that, for me, could have been partnered by a statement saying, I'm just going to work hard, and then, whatever. Even if he said, see what happens in the summer, but I'm at Everton and I'm going to work hard at Everton. The fact that he's clearly come out and said, listen, my intention is to leave this football club, and I'm glad that other teams are interested in me, it's just a little bit sour for me. And, don't get me wrong, if Idrissa Gana Gueye comes out and puts in 5 absolute worldy performances, including one in the derby, we'll forget about this statement, because that's what football is. You forget about the negatives when the positives start flowing in. That's what happens. But I think with a statement like this, it will now only take him one bad game for fans to start going, he doesn't want to be here, he doesn't want to play for us, get him off, he's not interested. And I think that's where he might have shot himself in the foot a little bit. Andrew says Bramley Moordocks is like the West Ham London Stadium. It does look similar. We'll talk about it in just a minute. As you can see, the image is just over there, and we'll talk about the new stadium in just a moment, of course. Matthew says, what has happened? Gomes completely fell off a cliff. Wouldn't be arsed if he left camp. PS, no way Ghana gets in that PSG team with Verratti, Rabiot, etc. Fair enough about Gomes. Recently he hasn't been as good as what we would have all wanted him to be, I suppose. He started off really, really well, obviously coming in for his debut against Crystal Palace in October. Had a really good run of games, about 8 to 10 games where he was fantastic, and then he has started to look a little bit sheepish. I think it's probably the fact that the rest of the team around him are looking poor as well, is, having an effect on his game and having a knock on his game. I really like Andre Gomes, and I do want us to sign him, and we'll talk about him in just a moment. Whereas in October we might have said give them whatever they want for them. I will probably be keeping a cap on it now. Maybe if it's 25 million, then I'd sign him, because I think he could be a really, really good player, and I think he's a lot better than any midfielder that we have technically. But fair enough, he hasn't been playing fantastic of recent, that's for sure. And in terms of Gana, I do agree. I don't think Gana will be a starter for PSG. He will be the type of player that they bring off the bench, or that plays some of the midweek games or something, but I'm sure he's well aware of that as well. If you're enjoying the stream so far, please do leave a like. It only takes a second, and it really, really does help me out a lot. If you haven't already, by the way, please do subscribe to the channel as well. We're so close to 400 subscribers now, only around 30 away, so if we can hit that in the next couple of weeks and months, that'll be absolutely fantastic. Samuel says, going to a new stadium is a big part of our future. We need to compare us to the Dortmund stadium. Passion, atmosphere and aggression from the fans. Yeah, it is a massive part of our future, and that's why it's really important to talk about it now. It's really important that we get together and we speak about Bramley more. It's really important that fans have their opinion, and that's why the public consultations that obviously the club done, and I'm sure we'll do again, is really, really important, because at the end of the day, it's our stadium, it's going to be our home. We're going to be there week in, week out. Players will come and go, managers will come and go, board members will come and go. We won't. We'll be there until the day that we die, a lot of us, so it's important that we love going, and it's our stadium, and I 100% agree. We need to give it passion, we need to give it atmosphere, and more importantly, I think, well, not more importantly because it links into them, but above all, teams that come to the new stadium need to fear it, and need to be scared, and need to be looking at the fixture list going, oh, I've got to go to whatever it be called, Bramley Moore, Kenwright Stadium, whatever it's going to be called. Whereas I think at the minute, that's what Goodison Park used to be. But at the minute, Goodison Park's a little bit of a, doesn't matter, we'll go and roll them over. Whereas, 5 or 10 years ago, 7 years, I remember 7 years ago, that some of the best teams in world football wouldn't like to come to Goodison Park. And that's what, equally, that's what we need to make Goodison again. But that's definitely what we need to make the new stadium as well. Jamie says, not surprised he wants to go. Sad, but I know who I would choose if PSG came knocking. Yeah, and that's fair enough. And like I said, I 100% understand why he wants to leave the club and why he would want to join PSG. I just don't really like the way he's going about it at the moment. Shabba says, when do we ever look forward to playing those lovable Reds? 100%, exactly, spot on. James says, Champions League football and guaranteed titles every year. I take it that's about PSG, of course. Samuel says Lukaku is set to leave Man United. Media say it's possible of Everton going for him. What would happen? Not too sure. I don't think he'd come back. I think Lukaku's been very vocal in the media recently about his discontent for our football club and the fact that he hasn't seen us progress since he's left, so why would he come back? Well, you know what, lad? I haven't seen you progress either, because your touch still ends up in the car park. You're still absolutely shite, and now you've lost your pace because you've put loads of muscle on. So, to be honest, if you're going to slag us off, piss off. Don't come back, lad. Because at the end of the day, yeah, we do need a striker, yeah, we do need a goal scorer, but Man United fans are on his back week in, week out saying he doesn't score enough goals. So, do we really need another hot-headed striker that doesn't score enough goals? No, the last one we had of that was Lukaku. So, but he's looking set to leave Manchester United, that's for sure. I think he'll end up going to the Italian League myself. Matthew says, if Gana scores the win in the derby, I'll drive him to the airport myself. Yeah. Do you know what, mate? I'll be in the passenger seat and I'll book his flight for him as well. Samuel says we should bring Nicola back, not as a first team player, but more as a second choice striker. Nikola Vlasic, I think he'll definitely come back at the end of the season. Or Nikola Jelavic. I don't know quite which one you're talking about there. If it's Jelavic, is he still playing? Let me know in the comments if he's still playing. If it's Vlasic, he's going to come back at the end of the season and we'll see what happens with him. Andrew says, Lord Umar, Lord Nias. Yes, definitely. Andrew says, I think we'll sell Gay in the summer. So do I. I don't think we've got much choice, to be honest. He clearly doesn't want to be here, so get the money and sell. David says, Rabiot's going to Barca, so Gana will play. Lukaku really skull smashed us for months before he got off. Benny back and Piatek would be great. F Lukaku. I do agree with that one. And yeah, if Rabiot does go to Barca, Gay will probably get a lot more game time at PSG. Matthew says, I don't know whether you've heard, Cam, but I've heard a lot of rumours that Mourinho's a done deal, and the bookies seem to think it will happen as well, and will be given a rumoured 250 million in the summer. I have heard a lot of rumours, and I have heard that, you know, a lot of people are saying that, you know, Mourinho could be the next Everton manager. I personally don't believe it, because I don't think Marco Silva's going to be sacked, but it's very, very interesting to hear a lot of people saying it, of course. Andrew says Mourinho's Everton will not happen. Fair enough. Matthew says Douglas Costa and Harry Maguire are his top targets. Listen, if Jose Mourinho comes in and brings in Douglas Costa and Harry Maguire, then, you know, welcome. To me, welcome, because they're two very, very good footballers. And Samuel says Nikola Vlasic. Okay, we're on the same page now. Yeah, you know, he's going to come back in the summer anyway, isn't he? So we'll see what can happen there. But anyway, that's enough about Idrissa Gana Gueye. Obviously, listen, we know where he stands. We know his stance. We know what he wants to do. He wants to leave the football club. He wants to go and live his dream at PSG, and that's absolutely fair enough. But for me, do us a favour, lad. Keep your mouth shut and let your feet do the talking. You've said here that, you know, you're going to work even more so that they come back. You didn't have to say that. You just have to keep quiet and say to yourself in your head, you know what, I'm going to work harder every single week so that these clubs come back for me. And, you know, let the feet do the talking, mate. Let's go and see on the pitch. Let's give it a little bit more every single week in, week out. And Evertonians will get behind you. And then they'll say at the end of the season, you know what, for the last 3 or 4 months of the season, he gave his absolutely everything week in, week out. So, fair enough. There's your move. Go. But for me, at the minute, I just wasn't too impressed with this statement. If it's obviously true, it has come from a paper. It has come from, you know, a source. So, it mightn't even be 100% true. But, you know, at the minute, if it is, I'm not too happy with it. We all know what Idrissa Gana Gueye wants to do. We all know his intentions. It was very clear in January. It will be the same in the summer, I dare say. So for me, if we get a similar bid in the summer of around 30 million, then maybe we do just have to let him go. Let me know your thoughts on that situation in the live comments and in the comment section down below if you're watching this as a video as well. Don't forget to hit the like button on the stream if you are enjoying it so far, and subscribe if you're new as well. I suppose we'll go on to talking about another Everton midfielder. Now, the opposite, we've got one Everton midfielder that's saying that, you know, he's looking for a move away from the club and that, you know, he wants to go and fulfill his dream in France. And we've got another Everton midfielder on the other hand that may be coming into the club on a permanent deal. They've played a lot this season together. Of course, I'm talking about Andre Gomes, the Barcelona midfielder, Portuguese Barcelona midfielder, of course, currently on loan at Everton, joined on deadline day in the summer with Yerry Mina. Obviously, we spoke about him a little bit earlier on in the stream, saying that he really, really hit the ground running. Of course, he wasn't able to play from, obviously, signing in August or in September to October due to injury. He had fitness issues. It kept a lot of us on the edge of our seats. A lot of us saying, what's this Andre Gomes going to be like? Is he going to be good enough? Is he going to come in and really boss the midfield? You know, at the time, we had Tom Davies, who was struggling in there. We had Morgan Snarlin, who it's very clear wasn't, you know, in the plans of the future for Marco Silva. We had Idrissa Gana Gueye, who was struggling because he didn't quite have that quality and that talent next to him. Andre Gomes comes in for his debut against Palace. Absolute best player on the pitch, and I think for me, from that game until the derby, he was absolutely fantastic. And you know what, I don't particularly think we've seen too many bad games from Andre Gomes. We might have seen 1 or 2 bad games. I think we've seen a couple of average games and games where you go, you know what, you mightn't be as fantastic as we all once thought you were. But for me, that period of time, obviously from October to December, he was absolutely fantastic. He was bossing every single game. Every time you watched him play, it was very clear. And I still think it is clear, even though, you know, his form might have dropped a little bit, even though he mightn't be performing as well as he did when he first broke into the team. I think it is still quite clear that Andre Gomes is our most talented midfielder, and on the ball, he's got the most talent out of anybody in our squad, I think, and that was very clear, clearly shown, obviously, when he broke into the team in October. He played against Palace. He was absolutely fantastic. He was then fantastic in the games there that followed that, and then in the derby, he absolutely bossed it, with the exception of missing an absolute sitter. Other than that, he was the best player on the pitch for me against Liverpool. After that game, as did a lot of the players, as did the club, as did everything really. It just all went downhill from there. I think we started to see Andre Gomes get a little bit tired. He started to look a little bit frustrated in some games, obviously picking up a couple of silly yellow cards and very nearly getting sent off as well in one of the games. And I think what the situation is with Andre Gomes at the minute, I think it's a mix of the fact that, you know, the team aren't playing very well at the minute. The team haven't got a lot of confidence. The team aren't really, you know, urgent. They're not showing a lot of fight, and he's getting dragged into that. I think it's a mix of that, as well as the fact that he's played a lot of football games, considering that when we signed him, he'd been injured and hadn't really played proper first-team football for 5 to 6 months. And even then, he was playing in a Barcelona team where he was in and out, really. You know, he hadn't played consistent football since his days at Valencia. And then he come in, obviously, and he's played a lot of football, and I mean pretty much every single week since his debut in October. And I think he's probably is struggling a little bit with fitness. I don't want to make any excuses up. I don't want to sit here and say, you know, Andre Gomes isn't fit, so that's why he's not playing well, because we don't know that. He might be 100% fit. He might be the fittest he's ever been in his career. But I think, you know, it's very clear to see that, and when you put 2 and 2 together, a player that hadn't played in such a long time come in and has played consistently and done, you know, I'd say averaging at least a 6 or a 7 every single game since he's come in. I think it's quite, you know, putting 2 and 2 together would say, okay, maybe he is just a little bit tired, maybe he is losing a little bit of fitness, maybe he's not quite as sharp as he was when he first come in, obviously because he hadn't played for so long. Maybe that is starting to catch up on him. Now, one thing is for sure is that there's been a little bit of news to come out of that rumour in the last couple of days. That is that apparently, according to, let me just get the source up, Mundo Deportivo, who are the source in Spain, quite reliable as well. They've been right with deals before. They have said that Marcel Brands is set to travel to Barcelona within the next few weeks to have talks with Barcelona officials about making Andre Gomes' loan deal permanent. Now, this is massive, massive news for me, and it's massive news for the football club, because this says a couple of things straight off the bat. Marcel Brands is doing the deals, Marcel Brands is doing the work, and Marcel Brands is willing to put his faith in Andre Gomes, and he's willing to say, listen, this lad's impressed me, so I want to sign him. 2 is that Barcelona are willing to budge, clearly, because they've organised a meeting, or will be organising a meeting with Brands and with Everton to try and discuss this issue, this deal. And 3, Andre Gomes very clearly is interested in making the loan move permanent as well. Otherwise, these talks wouldn't happen. For me, I think it's very clear that Marcel Brands has probably spoken to the player himself, Marco Silva's probably spoken to the player himself, and he's probably said, listen, you know, we're looking to make the loan deal permanent. Would you like that? Would you accept that? Are you happy where you are at the minute? And by the fact that Marcel Brands is set to travel to Barcelona, obviously the players come out and said, listen, yeah, I'm happy. I wouldn't mind staying here. The price is obviously something that will be discussed majorly over the next couple of weeks. I think when Andre Gomes first broke into the team, obviously, like I said, during that October time when we seen him against Palace, when we seen him against Liverpool, a lot of Evertonians, including myself, were saying, give Barcelona what they want for him. Whatever they want, 50, 40, 60, 90, me house, whatever they want, give it to him. I think at the minute we've sort of took a step back and gone, actually, you know, looking at his performances as a whole and looking at his game as a whole and how he can pick himself up when things aren't going too well, maybe in and around the realms of 20, 25, 30 million is right. Obviously, given that, you know, Idrissa Gana Gueye is looking to leave the club and we had a recent €30 million bid for Idrissa Gana Gueye, given that we may get another bid in the summer for Gueye around the same price, if we can snatch Andre Gomes up for around 22 million, then obviously that covers the Idrissa Gana Gueye fee will cover that. Listen, I think if Barcelona come and say we want 22 million or 25 million, they're just 2 rumoured numbers. I haven't just plucked them out the air randomly. They're 2 numbers that have been rumoured over the last couple of days. If they come out and say, listen, we want 22 million for Andre Gomes, I'd give them 22 million for Andre Gomes, because I generally think the player that we've seen in those first 2 or 3 months of his Everton career was heads and tails better than any Everton player talent-wise on the football pitch, week in, week out. Yes, we're now seeing, you know, he's in a little bit of a slump. Yes, we're now seeing the fact that he isn't quite as good as, or he's not playing quite as good, as he was a couple of months back. Yes, he's starting to get a little bit frustrated. Yes, his game is starting to be affected by that. But for me, I think it's very clear the talent that this lad has. It's very clear how good he is on the ball. I don't think he's the type of player that we probably thought he was when he first come in. I think a lot of us thought he was going to be like this Arteta-esque midfielder who was creating chances every single game and scoring goals every single game. He hasn't been that player. Obviously, he scored that wonder goal against Wolves, but other than that, he hasn't really contributed in terms of going forward. But I think as a central midfielder, aka a number 8, somebody that just sits in that centre of midfield, I think he's a very, very good player, and in the right formation and with the right players around him, I think he could really, really blossom. And at the end of the day, 22 million in this day and age is absolutely nothing. It's buttons, and for a player that we know, has got that quality in him and has got that talent in him, I think it's definitely worth making that move. And if we can make that move permanent, it will be absolutely fantastic, because 2 or 3 weeks ago, even a couple of months ago, we were sitting here going, oh my God, if we can make the Andre Gomes move happen, that'll be absolutely wonderful. So if we can do that for 22 million, then that'll be fantastic, of course. We'll have to see how that one develops in the near future as well. Let's go into the live comments and see what is happening there. Craig says, Jelic plays in the Chinese League, 1 in the 2nd division. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that. Does he? No, to be honest, why? If you were him, it's probably a good situation, to be honest, because he's probably getting a load of money for it. Andrew says, would love him, but realistically, will he come? My opinion, no, even though if we threw absolutely loads at him, I still think he wouldn't come. Talking about Mourinho, I agree, I'm in the same boat. I don't think Mourinho will come to Everton either. Samuel says, I would love to sign Zuma and Gomes. If you were doing fan cams in the future, I would love to be part of it. Yeah, of course, if I ever do a fan cam and anybody ever wants to get involved, just give me a DM on Twitter, and, say I'll be around so-and-so at so-and-so time. I'd be interested in an interview, and of course I'll come over and I'll give you a little interview and get you on the channel. Of course, that's what it's all about. It's all about getting you guys involved. It's all about getting our opinions in, and everybody having their opinion and everybody having their say on our football club. So definitely, so when I do, obviously I will announce when I'm going to start doing fan cams and things like that, and then if you hit me with a DM about whereabout you'll be around the ground, then of course I'd be happy to do that. In terms of Gomes and Zuma, I also would love to sign both on a permanent deal. I don't know whether Kurt Zuma would sign for Everton on a permanent deal, just because I think he's probably looking to break into that Chelsea side, especially considering they haven't been playing fantastic recently anyway. But we'll have to see. Andrew says, Andre Gomes, hope we sign him. Me too. Samuel says, I will give Silva until the end of the season before we decide his future. Very fair enough. I think a lot of fans will be in that boat. David says, F more me, I'm a hoe. Wouldn't do anything for us. Gomes hasn't had a pre-season and is clearly knackered. Mina also missed a sitter 3 minutes into the derby. We should be talking to Chelsea as well. Yeah, 100%. Mina missed a very clear opportunity in the derby, as did Andre Gomes. And in terms of talking to Chelsea, of course, I'd be wanting to discuss with Chelsea about Kurt Zuma's availability as well, and discussing with the player. I think for me, Andre Gomes would be open to a move to Everton. I'm not sure whether Kurt Zuma would. Like I said, then I think he'd probably be looking to break into that Chelsea team in the next year or so. Mitchell says, how many points do you want to pick up now until the end of the season? Prediction, oof, I'm not quite sure. How many games do we play between now and the end of the season? Let me get it up on the Premier League app, our next fixtures, and we'll go through them. Very, very interesting. Go through them. Let's see where we are. Upcoming fixtures here. So we play Cardiff on Tuesday the 26th. I'd take 3 points there. So there's 3. We then play Liverpool. I'm not going to say anything, so I'll just keep going with 3. Newcastle away. I'll take 3 there. So there's 6. We then play Chelsea at home. The way Chelsea are going at the minute, you never know. Hopefully we can take 3 there. So there's 9. West Ham away, we should take 3 there. 12, 3, 6, 9, 12. My maths is really going to get pulled up here. Arsenal at home, probably a draw, so 13. Where are we? Fulham away, got to win that one surely. There's 13, 16. My mind is going mad here. United at home, not going to give that one. Palace away, got to win that. 19. Burnley at home, got to win that. 22. Spurs away, not going to mention that. So 22, maybe, and that's given some massive results. That's some massive away wins against teams that we could very well be beaten by as well. But I think, around 23, did I say, will probably be, we're looking at them games on paper and the teams that we're playing. That's what I would, like us to get. But like I said, the way we're playing at the minute, it could be less than 10, to be honest with you. Samuel says, Mina needs more opportunities. Maybe he does. He has been injured in recent weeks, of course, and that's why he hasn't been playing. So it'll be interesting to see if he is involved against Cardiff. Of course, Kurt Zuma is suspended. David says 3 points would be enough, Mitchell. yeah, beating Liverpool, to be honest. Matthew says, if Everton lose to Cardiff, would you get rid of Silva? Cam? I would give it to Big Dunk for the last few months. Season's over anyway. The fans love him and he loves us. Nothing to lose and go again in May. I wouldn't get rid of Silva just purely because I think, like you've mentioned there, it's sort of using your reason as well. I think the season is over and I think I would like to see what Silva has in the summer. What he does with what he has in the summer, if he's backed by Mashiri, backed by Ken Wright, and then see how we line up at the start of next season. I think if we sack Silva, it gives us another job in the summer and bringing in a new manager, bringing in a new philosophy, bringing in obviously a new coaching team, whereas at the minute it's very clear that we need to start bringing in some new players as well, so we don't want to give us another sort of situation on our hands, if you like. So I'd leave him now in the job, to be honest. And if we're dangerously close to being relegated and it's looking like, we could go down, then yeah, of course, maybe obviously say fair enough, you're gonna have to leave the club. But so long as we pick points up here and there, I'd just leave him, because I don't think we've got a structured plan for after Marco Silva, and I think we're already in a situation at the minute where we've got enough issues at the football club at the moment. But that's just my opinion, of course, and your opinion, is fair enough. I'm sure there'll be a lot of fans that'd say if we lose to Cardiff, that's it, and I understand that, I really, really do. If you're enjoying this team so far, please do hit that like button, of course, and if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. Andrew says, Brand travelling to Barcelona to tie up Gomes on a permanent deal is fantastic. Yes, let's hope that one can be done. Natty says, we need players with good football and brains, and Gomes has one. I 100% agree with that. That is a smashing comment. Exactly. We need players that understand the game and can read the game, and I do believe Andre Gomes is one of those players. Samuel also says, there any chance of talking to you on Google Hangouts, and everyone is behind Silva, but he needs to make changes. If I can get it sorted at some point in the future, it's definitely something I'll look at. It's probably something I'll look at this weekend, to be honest. I'm not really doing much, so I'll probably sit down, have a look at Google Hangouts and see how that sort of works. And then if we can get it working, if we can get it sorted, or something like Skype or Discord of the likes, then I'll definitely be interested in getting fans on to talk about the football club, obviously, in the near future. And in terms of everyone's behind Silva, I think there's some fans that do want him to leave, but you are 100% right. He does need to make changes, and he needs to keep consistent, and he needs to just have a consistent captain week in, week out, and he needs to find a formation that works and stick with that, to be honest. But that's enough about Everton midfielders wanting to leave and wanting to join and this, that and the other. Let's go on to talk about the images that you can see on my right, but on your left, if that makes sense, and that is the leaked images of Bramley, Moor, Docks, and what our stadium potentially will look like when it's obviously up. Now, I just want to say a couple of things about these. These images were leaked apparently from a presentation that Dan Myers, who is the stadium designer, had months and months and months back. So I just want to say, as a sort of a disclaimer, now obviously, I don't work for the club. I don't have anything really to do with the club other than the fact I'm a fan and I'm a season ticket holder. So yeah, I've got nothing to do with the club, so I'm not here saying, oh, they've changed, don't look at these, they've changed, don't look at them. Listen, all I want to say is just beware when you're having a look at these images, and I'm sure you've all seen them on Twitter or on social media of the sorts, and I'm showing you a couple of them now, that these images are, quite a few months old now. They are old, so it's very, very possible that they could have changed. It's very, very possible that the image you see there at the bottom won't, be what Bramley Moor Dock will look like. It's very, very possible that, one of the other images that shows the dock wall being used in the stadium, that might have been scrapped now. That idea might have been turned down straight away by the city council. So, it's important to understand that these images could have changed in this situation, could have changed in the months that it's been since they were obviously presented at that presentation. There's been like a 40 page document leaked. I'm not going to go through all of that. Obviously, I picked 2 of the 4 main images that were shown there. The 2 most interesting, I'd say, obviously the bottom one saying new Everton Stadium opening in 2023 and having a capacity of 52,000. Now, what we know so far is obviously Everton did release a statement a couple of months back saying that the capacity will be 52,000 to start off with. However, could potentially rise to around 55,000 in the future, and then obviously if we can rise to 55, potentially rising further and further as well. Of course, the image gapes out here, jumps out at you straight away. It looks absolutely fantastic. It's on the banks of the Royal Blue Mersey, it's on the docks, it's looking modern, it's looking, great, it's looking fantastic. It's obviously lit up in the nightlight. It looks brilliant. It's an image that has actually leaked months and months back prior to obviously it being leaked from a presentation. It was an image that was, shown all over Twitter a couple of months back, and people were saying, is this going to be Bramley Moore docks? And some people were saying, no, it's just something that somebody's plucked out the air and gone, oh, look, it's a stadium. So it's definitely one that I've seen personally before. Let me know if you've seen it in the comment section down below. But it looks smart. It really, really does look smart, doesn't it? And listen, this may well have just been Dan Myers saying, yeah, I've made a little, diagram, I've made a little picture to show what it might potentially look like on the dock, or what a stadium would look like in general, not necessarily Bramley Moore, not necessarily Everton's new stadium, but just a stadium in general. Obviously, it looks really, really smart. Obviously, we knew the capacity anyway, open in 2023, so in about 4 years, so they really, really do need to get a move on and getting things sorted. But yeah, it looks really, really smart. The one above it obviously takes a different route. It looks inside the stadium. It's looking like it's going to be of a bowl sort of design. Of course, like I mentioned before, this could have all changed in the in the time that this image was first created and now, but it's looking like it's going to be of a bowl design. Obviously, Goodison Park is 4 separate stands. A lot of other stadiums are like that as well. Somebody mentioned earlier on in the live comments, the London Stadium, West Ham Stadium is of course a bowl as well. Wembley, if you've ever been to Wembley, is very similar. Listen, my experiences with stadiums that are designed like this aren't great. I'm not the biggest fan of Wembley Stadium. I'm not the biggest fan of everything being sort of together and it all just being one big stand. I do like the fact that we've got, the Gladys seat, we've got the Park End, we've got the Bullens. I like the fact that it's separated, but listen, there's no doubt it looks really, really smart. As you can see there, it's going that way, so it's going to be going towards the dock, so it looks like there's going to be room for expansion. Of course, there's been rumours about rail seating, about safe standing and things like that. None of that was leaked, I don't think, during the documentation leak, of course. So, we don't really know too much about that. But like I said, they are just 2 of the images that were leaked. There was 4 key images that were leaked about the stadium. It's very, very interesting to see. Of course, apparently there's rumours going around that we're under investigation for this. It was a leaked document, apparently, from somebody that was at said presentation regarding Bramley Moore. I think that image at the top as well, where is it? Up there, shows the dock wall being used, and I know that was a big part in a lot of people's opinions on the images, is that in one of them you can see the dock wall actually being used as like sort of a barricade behind, in front of sort of the stand, just behind the goal. Obviously, real dock wall that we wouldn't be able to knock down, so that's really, really interesting as well. I think the most interesting thing to come out of this is that it's quite evident that these images have been leaked from meetings within the club, have been leaked from Dan Myers. Yes, they, don't get me wrong, they mightn't be, Bramley Moore mightn't look like this because it might have changed significantly in the months, but they're definitely blueprints, and they're definitely, thoughts and feelings of people at the club and of the designers as to what Bramley Moore may or may not look like, or may look like, sorry, not may not. Obviously, when it is created, it's really, really interesting to see. Obviously, it shouldn't have been leaked out and it shouldn't have been, released to the public, but it has been, so we have to talk about it, and it's really, really, I think it's really, really smart as well. It's definitely the picture at the bottom there, it looks absolutely fantastic. But other than seeing the images and reading the documents and saying, oh, this looks really, really good, and then taking a step back and going, you know what, actually it's something that it could have changed a lot since since the document was first released. Probably has changed a lot. There's probably been numerous meetings since then, with the council and things like that, saying, can we use this, can we use that, can the stadium look like this? So it mightn't look anything like the images, but what's important is it may well look really, really like the images, so it's important that, we have a little look at them now and we get our opinions across. And, who knows, Everton might be saying, shit, we leaked the images, someone's leaked the images, we didn't want that to happen, but then they might scroll through the mentions and go, hang on, a lot of fans here don't really like the look of this, or a lot of fans want 4 sides, stadium, they don't really want this. Okay, that's, that answers one of our questions that we would have asked in the future. Scrap what they look like now, let's go and redesign and let's make it look a little bit different, of course. So yeah, really, really interesting. Let me know what your thoughts are in the live comments about that. And if you're watching this as a YouTube video, of course, afterwards, let me know in the YouTube comments. Where are we? Samuel says, please do let us know when you get on Google Hangouts. I will. I'll be on the next. If I set it up and everything's working fine, and I can get it working, then the stream after I've set it up, I'll let you know that obviously everything is working and we're going to start to look to use it. David says, geez, Homer, slow down the fanboying. I assume you're on about Samuel. Listen, everybody's welcome to comment, of course, as many times as they want. If you want to spam the comments with Everton stuff and Everton news and your thoughts and your opinions, then please do. It's all about everybody. It's a fan channel. It's not about me. It's not about my opinion. It's about all of us. And, you know, it's about Everton Football Club at the end of the day. Andrew says Usmanov could be interested in Bramley Moor Docks. Maybe he will be. Usmanov, obviously, private investor that may well be investing in Bramley Moor Dock. I know Farah Mashiri says that we'll have a private investor. He hasn't been named yet. A lot of links and a lot of ties state that it may well be Usmanov, but we'll have to see in the future. David says Usmanov is paying for it, Andrew. Well, 400 million supposedly through naming rights, energy supply, financial management, etc. But who will really know? Exactly, who will know until the club come out and say, listen, we've got financial backing by this man, or, you know, this man has invested in the club, or this man is now part of the board. We won't know. Obviously, USM Finch Farm is named after, I think it's Alisher Usmanov's brother, as the naming rights to Finch Farm, so there's already links there. Farah Mashiri, a very, very good friend of Usmanov. Usmanov come out before in the media and said, I'll always help Mashiri with Everton, so there's really, really strong links there, but nothing confirmed as of yet. Natty says, there should have been no need to leak pictures. The club should have given us preliminary information by now anyway. Fair enough, and yet maybe the club should have come out and said, listen, this is what it's going to, you know, this is what we planned originally for it to look like. These are some early pictures, these are some early blueprints. Let us know what you think about them, and, you know, we'll go by that. Or, yeah, have a look at this, here's some early blueprints. Maybe the club should have done that, but they haven't. But it's got out now, and, you know, we can start to see them. So that's all the information on Bramley Moor. Of course, we've done a full live stream on Bramley Moor on Friday, talking about the figures that were released. Of course, we literally done the stream, and then an hour later these pictures got released. So obviously I thought, you know, let's get them involved in today's stream and let's talk about them, because it's really, really important. Last sort of topic I want to go on to talk about today is Mason Holgate. Obviously the young right back loaned out in the January transfer window. Didn't get much game time this season for Everton. Wasn't really in favour with current boss Marco Silva. However, loaned out to West Bromwich Albion in January and is doing absolutely fantastic according to all sources. West Brom, a lot of their fans are really, really happy with him. They've been saying his performance has been absolutely fantastic of late. He's a really, really good defender. I've seen some really, really good clips of Mason Holgate since joining West Brom, and A, I didn't know he was that fast. He's absolutely rapid, and B, I think a lot of fans, a lot of Evertonians' worries with Mason Holgate was, okay, is he as good going forward? Is he a right back? Because does he give us that going forward? And there's been a couple of really, really interesting videos since he's joined West Brom of him absolutely steaming forward and putting some really, really good crosses into the box. So my question to you guys watching live, and my question to you guys watching as a YouTube video as well later on, is, does Mason Holgate have a future at right back at Everton Football Club? Obviously, given the fact that Seamus Coleman hasn't been in the greatest form this season, obviously given the fact that he's being kept out of the team by John Joe Kenny. We all know that John Joe Kenny's doing well, and I think he is doing well. I think he's performing well, but let's be honest, he's not, you know, he hasn't got that something about him. He hasn't got that oomph. I think he's very, you know, he's a good footballer, but he's not a great footballer. He doesn't provide enough going forward for me, and defensively he has been caught out a couple of times, given the fact that, you know, people might say we desperately need a new right back in the summer. A lot of people saying, let's go after Wan-Bissaka, let's go after, you know, some of the right backs as well. I know Cedric from Southampton was rumoured as well. So my question to all of you is, does Mason Holgate have a future at right back at Everton Football Club? And if Mason Holgate comes out and he says, if Mason Holgate, comes back to us at the end of the season, and he's had an absolutely fantastic loan spell at West Brom, and he's really, really developed himself, and he looks like a top player going forward, he looks like, you know, he can actually defend as well, should he be given his opportunity going into next season to start at right back? It'll be really, really interesting to hear what you guys think. Just for me, in my opinion, listen, I'm not going to lie, some of the clips I've seen from him have been absolutely, you know, massively impressed by, and I think if he carries on playing like that, I would definitely be giving him his opportunity, because it's only fair. You know, John Joe Kenny's had his opportunity, Seamus Coleman's had his opportunity, so it's only fair that Mason Holgate gets his as well. Obviously it's a little bit different because he's on loan at West Brom and he's not going to come back until the summer, but if he carries on performing how he is, and, you know, he has a decent pre-season, then why not? You know, some of the, you know, he seems absolutely rapid at the minute. His defending, you know, I think a lot of Evertonians look at his defending has always been good, but if he can improve on that breaking forward, getting past that man and putting that final ball in, and adding them, you know, assists, adding them all important offensive work to his game, then, you know, why not give him his opportunity? If he's turning it up in the Championship, that's a really, really tough league to turn it up in. So why not give him his opportunity in the Premier League next season? David says they did in November. Natty says, not the PDF document from where all this information started. I assume that is about the club leaking, or the club should have, you know, told us a little bit more about the stadium. Andrew says, I've seen some quotes saying he would be happy to stay at West Brom. I don't know if it's true or not, but it's what I've seen on Twitter. I haven't seen it myself, you know, but that's not to say it doesn't exist. I don't know, again, same, I don't know whether it's true or not myself. I think Mason Holgate would relish the opportunity probably to come back to Everton if he, you know, if he was told, listen, you're going to get a real opportunity this season, you're going to get a go in the first team, you're going to really, really, you know, get your opportunity, you're going to play right back where you want to play, and you're going to be given the time and the space and the, you know, the opportunities you need to really, really get at it and give it a really, really good go. I think probably what Mason Holgate might have come out and said is, if I'm not going to get an opportunity at Everton, I'd be happy to stay at West Brom, fighting in the Championship, you know, a really, really tough league, and trying to get them back into the Premier League. Maybe he has come out and said that, but I think if Everton turn around at the end of the season and said, listen Mason, we've been massively impressed by your progress, massively impressed by your performances on loan at West Brom, you're going to be, you know, our right back for next season, and you're going to be a major part of the squad, there's a new contract, sign it, Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt, then I think he'd be more than happy to come back. Natty says, Mason would have to develop quite a lot to be our first choice right back. I hope he does make the grade. Fair enough, and I'm not jumping on, you know, saying 100% bring him back now, he's fantastic. He does have to develop a lot, and these performances that we're seeing at West Brom need to be consistent, and more importantly, they need to be consistent in the Premier League, because that's where we're playing. We're not playing in the Championship. But 100% the way he's going at the minute, you know, he's looking to be on the right path, and I would hope that he is on the right path. David says, not a right back, doesn't have the pace, Natty. The pitches are the same as the fan consultation Dan did in November. Fair enough. And, you know, that's something that I also thought, you know, I was sitting here thinking Mason Holgate probably going to be a centre-half in the near future. Maybe doesn't have the pace to be a right back. And then I don't know if you've seen it. Obviously, I haven't got it. I'm not going to show it for copyright reasons, but there was a clip released by a fan of West Brom, I assume it was, of Mason Holgate knocking it past one of you know, whoever he was playing against. I can't remember who he was playing against, and absolutely sprinting, and he beats this guy for pace over, you know, pretty much the length of the pitch, and he looks absolutely rapid. So I think he's definitely been working on his pace and definitely been working on his agility as well. Natty says, Fanny's your hands, haven't heard that one before. I heard it all the time here. Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt. I don't know. I don't know if it's got a hidden meaning behind it, to be honest. I probably should have looked it up before I openly said it on stream. David says, I hope he does. Don't think he will, though. Nor Tom or Dom. Fair enough, but I hope the three of them really, really do make it. But, you know, obviously, fair enough. At the minute, they've still got, you know, a lot to go. Sorry, just getting shouted there. But yeah, like I said, 100%. I hope all three of them make it, of course. But anyway, that is going to do it for this live stream. Please do let me know your thoughts on everything that we have discussed in the comments section down below. If you have enjoyed the stream, please do leave a like rating. It does massively mean a lot to me. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe as well. We're getting close to that 400 mark. My goal for the year is 500, so if we can hit that, that will be absolutely unbelievable. But yeah, like I said, let me know your thoughts on everything we've spoken about. What you think about the Gana situation? What you think about the quote that he come out and said? Do you think it's a little bit disrespectful and you're not too bothered? Did you expect it? Do you just think, you know, fair enough, let him have his dream move and that's it? Or, you know, do you think, like me, it's a little bit disrespectful and he maybe should have just kept his mouth shut and got on with his game? What do you think about the Andre Gomes situation? How much would you be willing to pay for Andre Gomes? Would you be happy to pay £22 million? Or do you think, you know, his recent performances haven't been good enough and maybe we should leave that deal? What do you think about the Bramley images that have been released? Are you happy with how the stadium is looking so far? Obviously, given the fact that it may well have changed and probably has changed significantly since these images were released, but you know, like I said, are you happy with how it's looking, if it is to look like that? And what do you think about Mason Holgate as well? Do you think he has a future at Everton, specifically at right back, and have you been impressed with what you've seen by him at West Brom Albion? of course. But anyway, that is going to do it from me. Natty says, enjoyed that. Thank you very much, Natty, and thank you very much for getting involved in the live comments as well. David says, well in Cam, another bomb drop. Thank you very much, David. Thanks for all of your support as usual. Good Soul 12 says, nice one, Cam, another good vid. Thank you very much, Good Soul, and thanks to everybody else in the live comments as well. Another fantastic scene. If you're watching this as a YouTube video afterwards, leave all of your comments in the comment section down below. I'll be replying to them all night as per usual. I don't just sit here and reply to the live comments and then ignore the YouTube comments. I'll be replying to all of the YouTube comments as well, so leave them down below and we'll have a little discussion in the comment section about your thoughts and opinions on these situations. Andrew says 25 million or 30 million, I'd happily pay the fee. Fair enough, and you know, maybe that is what we're going to have to pay for Andre Gomes. But anyway, that is going to do it for me today. A massive thank you all for watching once again. I'll be back on Wednesday, of course, for another stream. We'll be talking about some more topics regarding Everton Football Club. If you've got any suggestions, please do leave them in the comments section down below for what we can talk about on Wednesday's stream, or tweet me at the Mighty Blues YT. It's just under there as well, and we'll get on the stream and we'll have a little discussion as well. But anyway, regardless, doesn't matter what we're talking about, we'll be live at 6:15 on Wednesday talking about Everton Football Club, of course, so make sure you join us then. But anyway, that is going to do it for me. A massive thank you for watching once again. A massive thank you to everybody in the live comments, and a massive thank you to everybody watching at home as well. I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Another week without the Blues. What are we going to do, eh? Maybe we'll just have to enjoy the week and, you know, not be massively sad that Everton have let us down once again. But anyway, that is going to do it for me. Massive thank you to everybody for watching. I've been Cameron, of course, and I'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues.